When we dug up the garden to build a patio, we found a box with my name on it, in my father's handwriting. Hi everyone! Before we get into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed that the channel's reach has been dropping a bit, and one of the best ways you can support us is by subscribing. It's quick, free, and helps us keep bringing you new and interesting stories. Your support means the world to us, and together we can grow this channel. Thank you so much. Now let's get to today's story. I'm writing from a temporary account for obvious reasons, and I've changed some details to protect my anonymity. The shovel hit metal at exactly 11:47 on a Tuesday morning in May. I remember the time because I'd been checking my watch obsessively, calculating how many hours of daylight we had left. The contractor, a barrel-chested man named Mike, had promised we'd finish excavating the garden by evening. My wife Rachel wanted the patio completed before summer, before our daughter Emma's graduation party. The sound was wrong, not the soft thud of blade meeting earth, but a sharp metallic clang that made Mike stop mid-swing. "There's something down here," he said, kneeling. "Pipe, maybe. Or an old septic tank." But it wasn't a pipe. 20 minutes of careful digging revealed a metal box, roughly the size of a shoebox, its surface oxidized green with age. It had been buried deep, nearly 4 feet down, wrapped in layers of plastic sheeting that had mostly disintegrated. Mike pulled it free and set it on the grass. We stared at it, this impossible object that had no business being in our garden. "Should I open it?" he asked. I bent closer. There was writing on the lid, scratched into the metal with something sharp. Letters that looked familiar in a way that made my chest tighten. Claire Harrison, open May 17th, 2025. My name. Today's date. In my father's handwriting. My father died 17 years ago. I was 23, fresh out of college, still figuring out who I was supposed to be. He'd been driving home from his research lab when another car ran a red light. The other driver walked away with bruises. My father died before the ambulance arrived. Quick, final. The kind of death that leaves no room for goodbyes. He'd been a physicist specialized in something abstract I'd never fully understood. Quantum mechanics, temporal theory. He'd tried to explain it to me once, drawing diagrams on napkins, his eyes lighting up with that peculiar intensity he got when talking about his work. "Time isn't what you think it is, Claire," he'd said. "We perceive it as linear, because our consciousness moves through it in one direction. But that's just perception. Reality is more complicated." I was 16. I'd nodded politely and gone back to texting my friends. Now I wished I'd paid attention. Rachel came out of the house carrying lemonade, stopped when she saw us standing around the box. "What's that?" "I don't know," I said honestly, "but it has my name on it." She set down the lemonade and crouched beside me, reading the inscription. "That's your dad's handwriting." "Yeah. But he's been dead for 17 years. Mike cleared his throat. "I can give you folks some privacy. Take a break, grab lunch." I nodded without looking at him. After he left, Rachel and I sat on the grass, the box between us like an unexploded bomb. "Could someone be playing a prank?" Rachel asked. "Who? Nobody knew we were digging today except Mike, and we only hired him last week." "Your dad, then, before he died. Maybe he buried it and never told you." That made more sense than any alternative. My father had loved puzzles, treasure hunts, elaborate games. When I was 10, he'd created a scavenger hunt for my birthday that took 6 hours and involved solving riddles, decoding ciphers, and finding clues hidden all over town. It had been exhausting and wonderful. Maybe this was his final puzzle, a gift he'd planned before the accident took him away. I picked up the box. It was heavier than expected and cold despite the warm sun. There was a seam around the middle. It opened like a clamshell. "You going to open it?" Rachel asked. My hands were shaking. "Yeah, just give me a second." I pried at the seam. The lid resisted, then popped open with a hiss of escaping air. Inside, wrapped in plastic, a letter, a USB drive, a photograph, and a small brass key. I took out the letter first. The paper was thick, expensive, barely yellowed despite years underground. The envelope was sealed with red wax, stamped with my father's old university seal. I broke the seal and unfolded the letter. The date at the top made my vision blur. May 17th, 2025. Today. But written in past tense, as if it had already happened. Dearest Claire, if you're reading this, then everything has occurred exactly as I calculated. You've begun excavating for the patio. Rachel suggested it, didn't she? She always had good instincts about the house. You found the box on schedule, and now you're standing in your garden, holding this letter, trying to make sense of what's happening. I know you're confused. That's natural. What I'm about to tell you will strain your understanding of causality, but I need you to trust me. I need you to believe that every word I write is true, even when it seems impossible. Claire, I didn't die in a car accident. I did. You attended the funeral, you mourned me, that was all real. But the circumstances were not accidental. I was murdered, deliberately, by people who discovered what I'd been working on at the lab. My research wasn't just theoretical. I wasn't playing with equations and hypotheticals. I'd achieved something, a breakthrough, a method of transmitting information backwards through time, not objects, not people, but data, messages, warnings. This letter is one of those warnings. The people who killed me are still active. They've been watching you, Claire, though you haven't noticed. They're waiting for you to lead them to what I hid. Information that could expose them, destroy them, but also, if misused, destabilize everything. You need to find it before they do. The USB drive contains encrypted files, financial records, names, evidence of crimes. But it also contains something else, a program I designed. It will only activate on one specific computer, in one specific location, at one specific time. You have 6 days. The key opens a storage unit in Waterbury, Unit 247, Atlantic Self-Storage, 1452 Harbor Road. Inside, you'll find a laptop and instructions. Follow them exactly. Do not deviate. Do not involve authorities. They're compromised. And Claire, most importantly, do not trust Marcus Welch. I'm sorry. I'm so desperately sorry that I couldn't protect you from this, that my choices are reaching forward through time to disrupt your life. But I couldn't let them win. I couldn't let them use my work to hurt people. I love you. I've always loved you. Even now, writing this from a moment that no longer exists, I love you. Trust the timeline. Trust the math. Trust yourself. Dad P.S. Tell Emma I'm proud of her. She'll do great things. I read it 3 times. Then I handed it to Rachel and watched her face go through the same progression of emotions: confusion, disbelief, fear. Claire, she said carefully, Emma's graduation is in 3 weeks. Your dad died when you were in college. He never met her. I know. So how does he know her name? I looked at the letter again, at the date, at the impossible knowledge it contained. I don't know, I whispered. We sat at the kitchen table, the box's contents spread before us. Rachel had made coffee, neither of us was drinking. Outside, Mike had returned and was diplomatically focusing on the far corner of the garden, giving us space. The photograph was old, Polaroid style, showing 3 people I didn't recognize, 2 men and a woman, standing in front of what looked like a laboratory. The back had a date, April 3rd, 2008, and beneath it, in my father's handwriting, the beginning. 2008, Rachel said. That was the year before he died. I picked up the USB drive. It was blank, no manufacturer markings, just smooth black plastic. We should plug it in, I said. See what's on it. The letter said it only activates on a specific computer. So we look at the files, even if we can't run the program. Rachel was quiet for a moment. You believe it, don't you? You believe this is real? Did I? My father, murdered. Time travel, conspiracies. It sounded like something from a movie, not real life. But the letter was real. The box was real. The date, my name, the knowledge of things my father couldn't possibly have known. All real. I don't know what I believe, I admitted, but I need to find out. We drove to Waterbury that afternoon, telling Emma we had errands to run. The storage facility was on the outskirts of town, a sprawling complex of orange metal units surrounded by chain-link fence. Unit 247 was in the back row. The key turned smoothly in the lock, and the door rolled up with a screech of protesting metal. Inside, a single metal shelf unit containing a laptop, an external hard drive, and a manila envelope. The laptop was old, heavy, running an outdated operating system. I opened it. Battery dead. Rachel found an outlet, plugged it in, and after a tense minute, it powered on. A single folder on the desktop, for Claire. Inside, hundreds of files, spreadsheets, documents, scanned images, and a video file labeled Watch First. I clicked it. My father's face filled the screen. Younger than I remembered, but with the same tired eyes, the same gentle smile. He was sitting in what looked like his old office at the university. "Hello, Claire," he said, and hearing his voice after 17 years made my throat close. "If you're watching this, you found the storage unit. Good. That means the timeline is holding." He leaned forward, hands clasped. "I don't have much time to record this, so I'll be direct. What I told you in the letter is true, all of it. I discovered a method of transmitting information backwards through time. Not far days, maybe weeks, but enough to send warnings, to change outcomes." He paused, rubbed his face. "The problem is, every transmission creates ripples. Changes. Small at first, but compounding. I thought I could control it, use it responsibly. But others found out. People who saw potential for profit, for power, they wanted me to weaponize it. I refused, and they killed me for it." My breath caught. "But here's the thing about time, Claire. It's not fixed. The moment of my death, I saw it coming. Not immediately, but I had clues, warnings I'd sent myself from the future. So I prepared. I hid evidence, created dead man's switches, and I buried that box in your garden because I calculated that you'd find it exactly when you needed to." He smiled, sad and weary. "The USB drive contains evidence against the people who killed me. Financial records showing they've been using my research to manipulate stock markets, rig elections, commit insider trading on a massive scale. They call themselves Kronos Group. They're well-funded, well-connected, and very, very dangerous. But they don't know where I hid the primary data. The core of my research, the algorithms, the hardware specifications, everything needed to replicate my work. That's what they're looking for. That's why they've been watching you." Ice formed in my stomach. The program on the USB drive is designed to upload all the evidence to multiple servers simultaneously: journalists, law enforcement, regulatory agencies. Once activated, there's no stopping it, no covering it up. Kronos Group will be exposed and dismantled. But it has to be activated from a specific location, at a specific time, using quantum entanglement to ensure the transmission can't be blocked or traced. The instructions are in the envelope. Follow them exactly." He leaned closer to the camera. "And Claire, about Marcus Welch. He was my partner at the lab. My friend, or so I thought. He's the one who brought Kronos to me. He's the one who pulled the trigger, metaphorically speaking. The car accident was his arrangement. Don't trust him. Don't contact him. If he approaches you, run." The video ended. I sat back, mind reeling. Rachel opened the envelope. Inside were detailed instructions, diagrams, coordinates, and a date. May 23rd, 2025. 6 days from now. The name Marcus Welch meant nothing to me. I'd been a child when my father worked at the lab, uninvolved in his professional life. But Rachel, bless her methodical mind, immediately started searching online. "Here," she said, turning her phone toward me. "Dr. Marcus Welch, distinguished professor of physics at Harvard, specializes in quantum mechanics and temporal theory, winner of multiple awards, frequent consultant for defense contractors." The photo showed a man in his 60s, silver-haired, distinguished-looking, trustworthy. Exactly the kind of person you'd never suspect of murder. There's more, Rachel said, scrolling. He's giving a lecture in Boston next week, May 22nd, The Future of Quantum Research. One day before the upload date. Coincidence. I didn't believe in coincidences anymore. We spent the next 3 days preparing. I read through every file on the USB drive, trying to understand what my father had discovered. The technical details were beyond me, but the implications were clear. Kronos Group had been using time-transmitted information to manipulate financial markets for years, generating billions in illegal profits. The evidence was damning: transaction records, communications, proof of conspiracy. If this went public, it would destroy them. But would it be enough? My father had been murdered. These people had resources, connections, no moral boundaries. If they knew I had the evidence, what would they do? I kept checking over my shoulder, jumping at shadows, seeing threats everywhere. Rachel suggested we go to the police. I refused. My father's warning was explicit. Don't involve authorities. They're compromised. Then who can we trust? She asked. Each other, I said. That's all. On May 21st, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something, instinct, curiosity, fate made me pick up. Hello? Claire Harrison? A man's voice, cultured, calm. My name is Marcus Welch. I was a colleague of your father's. I wonder if we might talk. My blood turned to ice. How did you get this number? Your father gave it to me, years ago. He said if anything happened to him, I should check on you periodically, make sure you were well. Lies. Smooth, practiced lies. What do you want? I'd like to meet with you. I have information about your father's death. Information I think you'll want to hear. I'm not interested. Claire, please. I know you found something. A box, perhaps? Your father mentioned he'd hidden things. I can help you understand what he was working on. I don't need your help. Then perhaps I need yours. His voice hardened slightly. Your father stole property belonging to the university, research, data, equipment. It needs to be returned. I'm prepared to compensate you generously for any inconvenience. Goodbye, Dr. Welch. I hung up, hands shaking. Rachel was watching from the doorway. That was him? Yeah. What do we do? I looked at the calendar. Tomorrow, we'd follow my father's instructions, upload the evidence, end this. We finish what my father started, I said. The instructions were specific. Upload the data from the old computer lab at my father's former university, using equipment he'd left behind. The lab was scheduled to be demolished next month, which meant my father had calculated even that, timed everything to the moment. We drove to the university at dawn on May 23rd. The campus was quiet, students not yet awake. I had my father's old faculty ID, somehow still in the system, still granting access to restricted buildings. The computer lab was in the basement of the physics building, behind 2 locked doors, and down a corridor lined with outdated equipment waiting to be discarded. Rachel kept watch while I set up the laptop according to my father's instructions. Connect to the lab's main server, access a specific port, run the program. The screen filled with code, scrolling faster than I could read. Then a progress bar appeared. Uploading, 5 minutes. That's how long it would take. I watched the bar creep forward, heart pounding. 3 minutes in, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Rachel's face appeared in the doorway, pale. Someone's coming. How long do we have? Maybe 30 seconds. I looked at the screen. Still uploading. 2 minutes remaining. The footsteps grew louder. Claire, a voice called. Marcus Welch. I know you're here. Please don't do something you'll regret. I didn't respond. Just watched the progress bar, 67%. He appeared in the doorway, flanked by 2 men in suits. Security, or something worse. Turn it off, he said calmly. No. You don't understand what you're doing. That data could destabilize markets, cause panic, hurt innocent people. Innocent? You killed my father. Something flickered in his expression, regret, guilt. Your father's death was an accident, a tragedy. But what he was doing it was dangerous. He was going to expose research that could have revolutionized the world, and he wanted to bury it instead. He wanted to stop you from exploiting it. Is that what he told you? Marcus stepped closer. Did he explain how he'd been sending messages to himself? How he'd created temporal loops, changed events, interfered with causality? Your father wasn't a hero, Claire. He was playing God. The progress bar hit 85%. Even if that's true, I said, it doesn't justify murder. I didn't kill him. Marcus's voice was soft. The timeline killed him, his own meddling. He created a paradox, and reality corrected itself. I tried to save him, to warn him, but he wouldn't listen. 90%. You're lying. Am I? He pulled out his phone, showed me a photograph. My father, alive, standing in this very lab. The date stamp, May 23rd, 2025. Today, my thoughts fractured. How? Your father sent me this photo yesterday, from the future, a few hours from now actually, along with a message, stop her, for both our sakes. 95%. That's impossible. He's been dead for 17 years. Has he? Marcus smiled sadly. Or has he been working in a timeline you haven't reached yet? Claire, time isn't linear. Your father discovered that. He's been living in loops, trying to fix things, creating more problems with each iteration. This, he gestured at the laptop, is his latest attempt. But it won't work. It never works. The upload completed. 100%. Transmission successful. The screen went blank. For a moment, nothing happened. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Well done, Claire. Now run. Rachel grabbed my hand. We need to go, now. We pushed past Marcus, racing down the corridor. Behind us, shouts, footsteps. We burst through the exit into morning sunlight, sprinting across campus to where we'd parked. We were in the car, pulling away, when I looked back and saw Marcus standing in front of the building, watching us leave. He wasn't chasing, wasn't calling for help, just watching, with an expression I couldn't read. The story broke that evening. Major news outlets simultaneously published exposés on Kronos Group, detailing years of financial crimes enabled by illegally obtained information. Arrests followed within hours. Executives, traders, government officials, all connected to the conspiracy my father had uncovered. Marcus Welch was taken into custody the next morning. By then, Rachel and I were in a hotel 3 states away, watching events unfold on television with a surreal sense of detachment. We did it, Rachel said. It's over. But it didn't feel over. That text message haunted me. Now run. Run from what? The danger was past. Kronos was finished. My father's evidence had achieved exactly what he'd intended. So why did I still feel like I was missing something? The answer came a week later in the form of another letter. It arrived at our hotel forwarded from our home address, though I hadn't told anyone where we were staying. The envelope was identical to the one from the buried box. Same paper, same wax seal. My hand shook as I opened it. Claire, if you're reading this, then the upload was successful, and you're safe, for now. Well done. I knew you could do it. But I lied to you. Or rather, I told you an incomplete truth. The evidence against Kronos was real. Everything I said about them was accurate. But that wasn't the only reason I needed you to access that computer lab on that specific date. The program you ran didn't just upload files. It also downloaded something. A message. From me. From the me that exists in a timeline 3 months ahead of yours. Claire, I'm not dead. I didn't die in that car accident. I survived barely, and I've been living in a temporal pocket ever since, trying to fix things, trying to prevent a catastrophe that's coming. But every time I change something, the timeline adapts, creating new problems. I've lived through hundreds of iterations of these events. In some, you never find the box. In others, Kronos gets to you first. In a few, you succeed but don't survive. I've been guiding events, sending messages backward, trying to engineer the perfect sequence. This version, the one you're living now, is the closest I've come to success. But it's not over. 3 months from now, there's going to be an incident at the facility where I've been hiding. An explosion, caused by my equipment failing. In most timelines, it kills me. But in this one, I think, I hope you can stop it. There's another box. Buried in your backyard, 3 feet to the left of where you found the first one. Inside is a phone. It's connected to my equipment. On August 23rd, at exactly 3:47 p.m., it will ring. Answer it. I'll explain everything then. I know this is asking too much. You've already risked so much, sacrificed your peace, your security. But Claire, I need you. Not just as my daughter, but as the only person in this timeline who can help me break the loop. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. But please, trust the timeline. Dad, I read it twice, then handed it to Rachel. She was quiet for a long time. Do you believe him? She finally asked. I don't know, I admitted. I want to. But it's too much. Time loops, multiple timelines, him being alive somewhere. You saw the evidence, Rachel interrupted gently. Everything he said about Kronos was true. Everything in his predictions happened exactly as he described. Why would this be different? Because it's impossible. So was the box with today's date on it. She was right. Everything about this situation defied logic, yet it was happening. I looked at the letter again, at my father's handwriting, so familiar, so achingly familiar. We have 2 months, I said. 2 months to decide if we're going to dig up the garden again. Rachel smiled tiredly. The patio's going to have to wait anyway. Mike still hasn't finished the excavation. We went home 3 days later. The news had moved on to other scandals, other crises. Kronos Group was finished, its members facing justice. My father's evidence had accomplished everything he'd hoped, but the questions remained. Emma met us at the door, eyes wide with relief. Mom! Claire! You're okay! I was so worried when I saw the news. We're fine, sweetheart, Rachel said, hugging her. Everything's fine. Emma looked at me over Rachel's shoulder. Did you really find Grandpa's secret files? Like actual evidence of crimes? Something like that, I said. That's so cool. I mean, not the crimes part, but the fact that Grandpa was like a secret agent or something. I wish I could have met him. My throat tightened. Yeah, me too. That night, after Emma went to bed, Rachel and I stood in the garden, looking at the half-excavated earth where Mike had been working. The first box had been found right there, near the oak tree. 3 feet to the left, Rachel murmured. We don't have to look, I said. We could just let it go. Build the patio, move on, pretend none of this happened. Could you? Rachel asked. Pretend? No, I couldn't. The questions would haunt me. The possibility that my father was still alive somewhere, trapped in some impossible timeline, needing help. I couldn't turn away from that. Let's wait, I decided. Until August. If the phone is there, if it rings when he said it would, then we'll know. Rachel nodded. And if it doesn't, then we'll know that too. The weeks passed slowly. Spring turned to summer. Emma graduated, a joyful celebration made bittersweet by my father's absence, or presence. I wasn't sure which anymore. I kept thinking about what Marcus Welch had said. Your father wasn't a hero. He was playing God. Was that true? Had my father's attempts to manipulate time, to change outcomes, caused more harm than good? The evidence against Kronos was real, the crimes genuine. But what else had he changed? What other ripples had his interference created? And if he was alive, trapped in some temporal loop, did he even want to be saved? Or was this just another iteration in an endless cycle? I found myself reading about time travel theory, quantum mechanics, paradoxes, trying to understand what my father had been working on, what he'd discovered. Most of it was beyond me. But one concept stuck, the grandfather paradox. If you travel back in time and prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother, do you cease to exist? Or does reality split into multiple timelines, each with its own version of events? My father had believed in multiple timelines. He'd written about them in his notes, theorized about consciousness moving between them. Maybe that's where he was. Not dead, not alive, but existing in some parallel version of events, trying to navigate back to this one. On August 20th, 3 days before the phone was supposed to ring, I couldn't take it anymore. "I'm going to dig," I told Rachel. She didn't argue. Just grabbed a shovel and followed me outside. We dug for 2 hours in the afternoon heat, moving carefully, precisely, 3 feet to the left of where the first box had been found. The shovel hit metal at 4:47 p.m. This box was smaller, wrapped in the same deteriorating plastic. On the lid, August 23rd, 3:47 p.m. Inside, a phone. Old, simple, battery fully charged, despite being buried for who knows how long. And a note. "Don't answer early. Wait for the exact time. It matters." August 23rd arrived with cloudless skies and temperatures in the 90s. Emma was at a friend's house. Rachel and I sat in the garden, the phone between us, watching the minutes tick down. 3:45 p.m. 3:46 p.m. At 3:47 p.m. exactly, the phone rang. I picked it up. "Hello?" Static. Then a voice, distorted but recognizable. "Claire? Dad?" "Thank God, you found it. You answered." Relief flooded his voice. I wasn't sure this timeline branch is unstable. Probability flux. I've seen so many versions where—" He stopped, collected himself. "You did well, with Kronos. I'm proud of you." Tears burned my eyes. "Are you really alive? Where are you?" "That's complicated. I'm in a temporal displacement field, a bubble outside normal causality. I've been here since the accident, or since I faked the accident, more accurately. I needed to disappear to protect you, to work on fixing this without Kronos knowing." "Fixing what?" "Everything." His voice was weary. "Claire, when I discovered how to send information backward through time, I thought I could use it to prevent tragedies, improve outcomes. But each change created new problems, new timelines. I've been trying for 17 years, subjectively much longer, to find a stable configuration where everyone I love survives and Kronos falls. And this timeline? Is this it?" Silence. Then, "Almost. But there's a problem. The equipment keeping me alive is degrading. In approximately 47 minutes, it's going to fail catastrophically. In most timelines, the resulting explosion kills me and destabilizes the quantum field I'm anchored to. But I've found a solution." My chest tightened. "What solution?" "You can shut down the equipment safely, remotely, using a sequence I'll transmit to that phone. But Claire, you need to understand. If you do this, I'll be released from the temporal field. I'll rejoin normal causality. But I'll rejoin it at the moment I entered, 17 years ago." I struggled to process that. "You'll go back?" "No, not back. I'll exist simultaneously in 2 states until the timelines converge. Think of it as quantum superposition on a macroscopic scale. For a brief period, I'll be both dead and alive, both past and present. Then the timeline will resolve itself, choosing which version is real. What does that mean for me, for us?" "I don't know," he admitted. In some probability branches, you'll remember both timelines, the one where I died and the one where I didn't. In others, only one set of memories will remain. I can't predict which." "What if I don't activate the shutdown? What if I just let the equipment fail? Then I die, permanently, and the temporal instabilities cascade, potentially creating paradoxes that could affect your timeline, make things worse for you and everyone I've been trying to protect." Another choice, another burden. I looked at Rachel, who was listening to my half of the conversation with growing alarm. "How long do I have to decide?" I asked. 43 minutes. I need the sequence transmitted by 4:30 to allow sufficient time for the shutdown process." I closed my eyes. "If I do this, if I bring you back, will you finally stop? No more time loops? No more trying to fix things?" "Yes, I promise. I'm done playing God. I just want to come home." The ache in his voice broke me. Send the sequence, I said. The phone beeped, displaying a long string of numbers and letters. My father walked me through entering them into an app I had to download, connecting to systems I didn't understand. At 4:28 p.m., I pressed execute. Done, I said. Thank you, Claire. I love you. I've always... The line went dead. Rachel and I sat in the garden, waiting. For what? I wasn't sure. An explosion? A flash of light? Some cosmic indication that reality had just been rewritten? Nothing happened. The sun continued its descent. Birds sang. Somewhere down the street, children played. At 4:35 p.m., my phone rang, my regular phone, not the buried one. An unknown number. I answered. Claire, it's Marcus Welch. I almost hung up, but something in his voice stopped me. What do you want? I need to tell you something about your father. He contacted me this morning. I don't know how. I thought he was dead, but he called me and he said... Marcus's voice cracked. He said to tell you he's sorry. That he tried everything he could think of to make it right, but in the end, the only solution was to let go. To accept that some things can't be changed. My blood turned cold. What are you talking about? There was an explosion this afternoon, at a facility upstate. The building was abandoned, scheduled for demolition anyway, but... He paused. They found a body. Claire, they found your father. The world tilted. That's impossible. He's been dead for 17 years. The body is fresh. Cause of death, equipment malfunction. They're running DNA tests, but the preliminary identification... Marcus took a shaky breath. It's him. Your father died today, not 17 years ago. I couldn't breathe. How is that possible? I don't know, but he knew it was going to happen. He called me to say goodbye, to ask me to look after you. Marcus's voice was thick with emotion. I'm sorry, Claire. I'm so sorry. For everything. For not believing him. For working with Kronos. For... I hung up. Rachel was staring at me. What happened? He's gone, I whispered. He died today, but he also died 17 years ago. Both are true. I don't understand. Neither did I. But slowly, as the sun set and the garden fell into shadow, pieces clicked together. My father had been living in a temporal loop, existing outside normal time. Today, he'd chosen to end it to rejoin causality at the moment of his death. He'd given me the sequence not to save him, but to shut down the equipment that was keeping him trapped. He'd died 17 years ago in a car accident. He'd died today in an explosion. Both were true.